Hello, everybody. Kevin J Johnston here. This is the Real Estate Show coming to you live from Costa Rica. My partner in crime here, Mark Savoya, is going to be joining us in just a second, everybody. But this here is my 12th week. Obviously, this is the 12th episode of Your Questions. I'm sorry. Your questions answered about real estate. It's called the Real Estate Show. In Costa Rica, I've experienced quite a few things that are, I would say, mostly all positive for myself. My blood pressure is perfect. It's 120 over 80. It's exactly where it should be for a guy my age. I'm 52. Obviously, you can tell I've lost a whole bunch of weight. I'm tanned. I'm feeling good about life in general. And there's a lot of really good people here. There's a lot of expatriates from Europe, from Canada, United States, from Australia. They all like to make the west coast of Costa Rica their home. But a lot of you have been asking me about moving your wealth out of Canada and the United States and Europe and Australia and getting it here to Costa Rica. That is what we help you do. There's a few things to understand about what needs to be done to get that to happen. And to explain everything is Mark Savoya. Mark, thanks for being here again. Looking good, buddy.
Thanks, Kev. The same to you, man. As always, brother, as always.
All right. So we're just going to dive right into it because the show is only an hour, folks. I've had hundreds of requests now to move wealth into Costa Rica. A lot of folks are saying the same thing, and that is they're being taxed to death. In Canada, you're losing about 63% of your income to taxes. In Sweden, it's over 75. I'm getting a lot of people calling me from Sweden these days. But in Australia, there's a lot of new tax laws and tax rules coming in, and they are pursuing people all over the world for tax revenue. So let's talk about protecting your dough here in Costa Rica. Go ahead. Let's talk about that.
All right, guys. So for us Canadians, it's easy. Once we move all our assets into Costa Rica, our assets are protected from Canada. Because we have no treaty, we have no extradition, we don't have to worry. So a lot of the banks in Canada are giving clients a hard time moving their funds into Costa Rica because they know that their funds, once they leave Canada, they no longer can be touched by Canada and are protected in Costa Rica. Now, for Americans, a lot of Americans do not disclose to the U.S. what it is they have in Costa Rica because they'll put the bank accounts and the assets under the corporation, trying to shell the assets so that the government of the United States doesn't find out. There is a simpler way. We have the lawyers. We can actually help you to resign as an American citizen, American resident, but keep your green card as an American citizen and become a resident of Costa Rica. Once you fill out this form and you do that, you no longer have to disclose anything to the U.S. government. They can't even go back 7 years and prosecute you for anything. So all your assets and your funds in Costa Rica are 100% protected, and you get to be able to keep your citizenship as an American without losing your citizenship.
All right, so I just want to repeat what you said there because it sounds absolutely amazing. So if you're an American citizen and you want to come to Costa Rica and bring your money with you, buy property and protect everything, including the knowledge of the account and the property, you apply for residency here in Costa Rica, you become a resident, and now the IRS has zero jurisdiction over you and your monies.
Exactly. 150%. That's how you can do it.
Absolutely fantastic. So now that we have a lot of Americans watching the show, maybe explain to them what's the quickest way and the legalist way to get all of their resources and finances here in Costa Rica. Go ahead.
Okay, guys. The quickest way of doing that would be to invest into Costa Rica. Once you have rooted yourself in Costa Rica with purchasing a property, purchasing a business, right, of a minimum of $150,000, which isn't hard to spend in Costa Rica, that would then allow you to open up bank accounts and start moving your funds over into Costa Rica. What they don't want people to do is just come to the country, open up bank accounts, and then just funnel their money into Costa Rica, but meanwhile, they haven't rooted themselves into Costa Rica. So Costa Rica is saying, once you plant some roots here, hey, man, open up the floodgates, open up the bank accounts, we'll take your money in, we'll protect your money. And they'll only release whatever it is that you ask them to release to whatever government around the world that you do belong to. So if you don't want to disclose it, don't disclose it.
I had a conversation with a gentleman today from Canada who's unfortunately has an ex-wife who's pursuing him greatly. He moved all of his assets and money to Costa Rica But she apparently is trying to hire a lawyer here in Costa Rica. Hold on, you love this one.
No,
Here in Costa Rica to try to enforce a judge's order from Toronto.
no,
Could that
no,
work?
no, it can't work because there's no treaty, so it doesn't matter. So, like I tell people, it's always buyers beware too, right? You invest into a property here, you buy something. There's a lot of people from in Toronto, Calgary, Alberta that will meet with somebody, back there, and they say, I'm selling something in Costa Rica. They're not physically here. They sell it, and then they find out that they don't get deed of title. It's not exactly what they thought that they were going to buy. They get ripped off. But yeah, with somebody trying to enforce with a judge here from Canada a ruling or hire a lawyer here to enforce it, they're going to laugh and say it's not happening. If he got his money out and it's sitting here in Costa Rica, it's 100% protected. She can't do nothing. If he's got it into a bank account in his name, that rightfully belongs only to him, nothing to her. There's nothing that will bind her to whatever he has here in Costa Rica. It's fully protected. He got his money out. He's safe.
Well, and also there was a follow-up question that I had heard, and that was, what if she was to pursue him in the European Union, like Germany, who has really strange laws? And I'm thinking, well, how could she possibly win a lawsuit in Germany, considering
No,
that any orders were given in Canada to do with a
no,
Canadian marriage that no longer exists? So
no.
I would encourage everybody out there, guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, stop panicking, stop worrying about these things. There's only
Yeah,
so much that a Canadian court can do. And what's really interesting, though, Mark, is that in many cases, there are judges' orders that will be given in one Canadian province that cannot be enforced in other Canadian provinces. So if you're not able to enforce something in British Columbia that was ordered from Quebec, what would make anybody think that a judge could take your money from you here in Costa Rica? And it'd be the same thing in the United States. Like, there's no way for an American judge to tell a magistrate or a judge here that you must give us the $500 that's in John Smith's account in
no,
Florida.
no. Well, there was a gentleman who did a scam in the early 80s, 82 or 83. And he did the first phone scam with the Cancer Society in the United States, where he called people and say that, put this much money into a bank account and you'll receive $2 million, right? So this guy actually lives in Ojo Chow now. So he did it. CNN, the FBI, personally came down here and interviewed him. He gave up his citizenship as an American, and he's now a Costa Rica resident, and he's a Costa Rica citizen. So when they told the Costa Rica government that this guy's a wanted fugitive, and he did all these phone scams, and he scammed millions, not hundreds, millions of dollars out of people, the Costa Rican government says, no, you can't touch him. He's one of ours. He's safe here. So a lot of people will do things, and they'll come to Costa Rica because they know they're protected. Canadians, man, easy as pie. And when Americans were coming up to me saying, Mark, how do we get the privileges that you Canadians have in Costa Rica? Kev, it took a long time, and you know this, to find the resource to be able to help people out, to allow them to have the same privileges that we as Canadians have in Costa Rica for the Americans to have.
Right. Well, I'm glad that Americans,
we're the only ones that have it.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm also glad that Americans are starting to have the same rights here in Costa Rica as Canadians do. And that is really, I think the one right that everybody wants in America is just to be away from the IRS. The Internal Revenue Service, they're crazy with the things that they do, the stunts they pull, the threats they issue. And now, what did Biden hire? Like 20,000 more, and he wants to give them all guns. So you're going to have an IRS agent come to your house with guns to talk about your taxes. That is ridiculous. And that is the type of thing that actually hurts economies. It never helps them. So you're saying that Americans are now completely protected here in Costa Rica. And
if they give up their residency,
right,
and become a resident of Costa Rica,
okay,
they can go back home and flaunt. They can go print their bank accounts and show the U.S. government, send it to the IRS and say, look, I've got whatever, 50 million sitting in Costa Rica. And they can't do anything about it. They can't do a damn thing about it.
Wonderful. I just want to say welcome to everybody here on TikTok. I know a lot of you are here for the first time. My name is Kevin J Johnston. I am a professional relocation expert here in Costa Rica. We help Americans, Canadians, Brits, Europeans, Australians move their wealth and their lives here to Costa Rica smoothly. We keep you away from the scam artists, and we make sure that your governments are not taking any of your money away from you. All right. So can you come to Costa Rica if you've got a criminal record, like just like something basic, like a simple assault from 10 years ago?
If it's anything 10 years or older, it's insubmissible to Costa Rica. They don't care about it because they look at it at if you've done a decade where your crime's a decade old, they don't care. They'll leave it alone. The only thing that they do frown upon here and doesn't get removed for 50 years would be child trafficking, child pornography, drug trafficking. Those are charges that will stick with you for 50 years, and then the Costa Rican government will exempt them. But regular charges, theft, grand theft, break and enter, petty theft, assault charges, all that stuff, after 10 years, the government here doesn't care because they figured that you served your time.
Right. Now, is that going to stop you from vacationing here?
No. Anybody can come to the country to vacation. Not a question asked.
Okay, very good. Because I have had this question. A lot of people have got misdemeanors. In the States, they're called misdemeanors. In Canada, they're called summary convictions, things like simple theft, getting in a bar fight, things like that. And now people are, they're concerned they can't get into the country here. And I think really that the only country that cares about things like that is the United States. I can't imagine any country in Latin America cares if you've got some bar fight from 10 years ago or even last week.
They don't care. They don't care. And there's a lot of people here, Kev. I've got friends that have like 49 charges, and they're charges that were just before COVID. So we're talking like 4 years old, and they're living here. There's not like anyone stopping them from living here. They're living here. They just do their border runs every 6 months, but they're living in the country. No problems. You can also own property, even if you got convicted charges. You can still invest. You can own property here. You can even own bank accounts. They don't stop.
Amazing. Someone's saying that they have a DUI from the past. Is that going to stop them from getting into Costa Rica?
Nah, if it's 10 years older, if they want to apply for residency, no problem. If it's recent, you can still come to the country. You can still invest. You can still open bank accounts. You can still move your money here. No questions asked.
All right. What is the exchange rate between Canada and Costa Rica? All right. So that's one I'll answer right now, everybody, is that 1,000 colognes, you'll see on the bills, it says 1,000 mil, MIL is short form for 1,000. That's worth $2.50 Canadian right now. I bought barbecue sauce today for 1,100 colognes. That'd be about $2.70 Canadian. Now, I do want to say this to everybody. If you're coming to Costa Rica, be prepared to change your shopping habits. You can't buy every single grocery that you want in one store, because where peanut butter may only be $3, maple syrup might be $50 because it's an import. Where bananas might be 35 colognes, like pennies, they might be 150 colognes somewhere else. So you have to get used to the idea of moving around. Now, Mark, we're in the town of Uvita. Where is the best place to shop for food in this region? Go ahead.
Well, I go behind the BCR, next to a barber shop, past the bakery. There's no addresses, remember. That's where we go shopping for our fruits and vegetables, right? When it comes
here in town.
Right here in town.
Gotcha.
When I'm going shopping for meat, I personally go to San Isidro when I can, and I'll just stock up on meat because it's a lot cheaper. But in town here, I'll go from the BM. Sometimes I'll go to Maxipali, which is like a division of Walmart. If you're doing like your box goods, your milks and all that, your pops, your juices, you'll stop into, and you get to know the locals, and they carry a lot of the stuff that's in the BM and the bigger grocery stores. Gotcha. They also carry it. But you make a day of it and you have fun, right? It's not always about the rat race. So you get to enjoy it, and then you get accustomed to where you're going to go. And then before you know it, you got your route already tracked out, and you're bang, 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 and you're gone.
That is something that I did want to actually reflect on. The fact is that shopping in Costa Rica is like it was in the 80s, where you go out, you relax, grab a card, grab a few things, talk with some
Yeah.
people. You know, I noticed that everyone's allowed to bring their dogs into the grocery stores here. So
Yeah.
people's dogs sniff each other and you can talk with the locals.
Yeah.
It is a completely different life than running into a grocery store and seeing hundreds of people in line, which I absolutely despise
Exactly.
in every way. Someone's asking me here, can I bring my crypto cold wallet when I move? Of course you can. It's the same thing as a cell phone.
Yep.
When I came to Costa Rica, everybody, just so you know, when I landed in Mexico, in order to clear customs, I stayed with a friend of mine for a couple of days. So in order to clear customs, I had to first talk to the border guard who just went stamp and gave me 6 months on my passport. She didn't even ask how long I was staying, by the way. And then I had to have armed security, go through all my bags to see what was in them. And what they wanted to know is, do you have more than 2 laptops with you? If you do, they're going to ask why, because they think you're probably opening up a business and so on. But in Costa Rica, they didn't care what was inside of my bag in any way, not in any way, shape, or form. The only questions I had from the gentleman, I'll tell you exactly what they were. I got in line. How long are you staying? 6 months. Are you opening a business? No, I'm retired. I'm going to spend some money, have some fun. Where are you staying? Mark, that's when I contacted you. What's the address? And you said 5th house by the restaurant. Yeah. And he accepted that, right? Because he knows. And then he also asked me if I was leaving. Now, that's a big one, is you cannot just have a one-way ticket to come to Costa Rica. You got to have at least a reservation to leave. So I had a reservation to leave 6 months later. He saw it. He liked it. Stamp. And welcome to Costa Rica. I don't think I spoke to this guy for longer than 4 minutes, realistically speaking. And if you want to stay in Costa Rica for 6 months, you just have to have that you get the one-way ticket to fly here and the reservation to leave, which is available on my website, KevinJJohnston.me, which is right over there in the corner, and in the description here on TikTok. It's $75 on the homepage. Just click it, buy it, but don't get it until 2 days or 3 days before you leave. It's one of those things you buy last couple of days. All right. Did the Costa Rican government have a problem with people buying one-way tickets and then just never leaving? Is that what happened?
Kev, once you're in the country, it is so hard to track people because there's no addresses. If they're trying to look for someone, it's really, really hard. Costa Rica is not tiny. People think that they can drive from one end of Costa Rica to the other end in like 3-4 hours. From Panama to Nicaragua, you're a good 8, 9, 10. You're a good 14 to 18 hours to drive from one end of the country to the other. And that's just going that way, right? Then you also have the east to the west, which is pretty big too. So It's a big place. And there's a lot of places to hide because you can go 12,000 foot elevation and be up in the mountains, man. They're not going to find you. That's why they ask.
I got you. So they want to make sure that you do intend to leave, and they'll just stamp your passport. There was no arguments, no dirty looks. He's just doing his job. Let me in, grab my bags, got in the cab, and 3.5 hours later, I was here in Uvita. It was actually a very easy trip to make.
And what's nice, guys, what you got to think of too, last night's show, I was listening to you guys, it's pretty spectacular. We don't have any 15-minute cities here. We don't have to worry about gridlock. There's an abundance of cars. There's an abundance of gas. There's no carbon taxes. There's no having to, explain what you need money for pulling out of the bank. If you want all your money pulled out of the bank legally by law has to pull it out in 48 hours and have it sit in duffel bags for cash for you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, the left wing also, the radicals, they have no pull here.
No,
none.
No.
There's absolutely zero LGBTQ influence in government, education, police, or otherwise. And it is a very, very pleasant thing that it is a Christian country. Yeah. And there are a lot of Christian traditional values here, which I'm thankful for. And as a result of that, I notice anyway, that the whole country has the same culture, aside from the local regional dialects and whatnot. And the dialects are really only more about locations than they are the actual language being different. It is a very, very peaceful place. I've also noticed that there are no Palestine flags here. The people here don't care about the Middle East, and nor should they. They should care about Costa Rica. So I see that where everybody has high blood pressure when they come here, within a couple of weeks, it goes right back to normal. Like I told you, mine's 120/80. I had it done 2 days ago. Phenomenal. I'm in phenomenal health here. It's just an amazing place. It really is.
You always walk in the mountains, Kev. You're always walking the mountains. That's why. Which
I
is good.
love walking in the mountains. Yeah, I know. You keep pressuring me to go buy a car, but I'm having too much fun walking in the mountains.
Yeah,
All right,
I know.
here we go. Gary is asking, where can I buy power tools in Costa Rica? He wants drills and saws, and so on. Go ahead.
Man, if we have the Colonial, we do have hardware stores. People think Costa Rica's third world. It's actually like second world. We do have big Colonial stores that are like Home Depot. We have Think Epe. Like power tools are in abundance here. You can go to Golfito. You can go duty-free shopping where you don't pay any taxes on half the stuff. Like if I were to buy an 85-inch TV in Uvita, it would be $4,000. But if I go to Golfito duty-free shopping, it's $1,700, taxes, everything in, right? So there are places where you can buy a lot of good stuff for dirt cheap here. You just have to know where to pick it up, where to find it.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed. Yes, you can get really good deals on things if you know where to go. And I guess the good news is that Mark knows where to go.
Exactly.
All right. We Are Awakening is asking how healthcare is.
So healthcare here, once you become part of the CAHA system, this is Universal Basic Healthcare, any pre-existing conditions that you have, everything will be covered, even surgeries. I personally, I'm part of it because I'm a resident, but I also use the private sector too. So if I'm going to get something done, I don't want to wait. A few months ago, I just had it redone here a week ago. I had sinus surgery done. I looked up my surgeon, read all his reviews, called him on a Friday, and the earliest I could make it to SEMA in San Jose was on a Tuesday because I had to work on a Monday. Got in on a Tuesday, put the camera up my nose, cauterized it, burnt it all, did a follow-up. We had to reburn. Sorry, it was this side a little bit more. Went back a few seconds, did it again. That was $800 for the whole surgery. That's a surgery that I would have waited at home, minimum 4 to 6 months to have done at home. I would have waited. Call on a Friday. I'm in on a Tuesday. I fractured my foot. I had an orthopedic, blood work, ultrasound, x-rays done. It was $130. I was in and out in 40 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not expensive, man. Dental here, dirt cheap. It is so extremely cheap and it's so advanced. It makes Canada look barbaric when it comes to their technology and the advancements that they have here and what they can do.
Well, as I've told the story before, when my ACL and my knee was torn, and I mean ripped, It was gone. It wasn't there. It took me 6 months to get an MRI, and then 6 more months to get surgery. And then it was a horrible infection because it wasn't done properly. Another 2.5 months of care there. When I was talking with various people, it turns out that operation was less than €5,000 in Paris. And if I'd known about the medical system being better in Costa Rica, I would have gone to Costa Rica and had it done.
Kev, I paid for gynoplasty surgery in my chest. In Canada, I paid $6,600, and I had the nurse abuse me. I told you, blood clots, had to have them sucked out. The same surgery done here with one of the best surgeons, world known, that does bodybuilders and stuff, $1,500.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Oh, I'm being asked about my crypto show. Sorry, that's I'm in the Rumble room right now. So Risa 11, the crypto expert that I'm bringing on the show, he's taking care of family issues in Eastern Europe right now. He's in Slovakia. He will not be coming back to North America for another month. So I do apologize, getting your hopes up. But when he does return in March, that's when we're going to bring out the crypto show for you. All right. So trust me, we will get to that crypto show. I haven't forgotten. It has to be done. I'm just going to check TikTok for more questions here. Chemtrails. I haven't seen a single solitary one. Like not one. Mark, I lived in Calgary, as you know, for 3 years. And every single night, the police were flying helicopters all over downtown, all over Killarney and Forest Lawn. Like these are areas that are close to the downtown core. It was unbelievably just rude, I would call it, to have these things flying at 5,000 feet every single night up to
Yeah.
midnight. They were flying.
Yeah.
Calgary did have a lot of chemtrails.
Yeah.
Toronto was disgusting. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I get pictures sent to me all the time.
Me
So
too.
since I've come here to Costa Rica, I have heard helicopters flying twice. That's it. For just a couple of minutes when they go across the sky.
That's
And
probably
I've
Paris
only-
Hilton.
Yeah, I've only probably Paris Hilton. You're right.
Yeah.
And I've only seen single engine airplanes flying.
Yeah,
There's
you
been
won't
no-
because you got to remember, Kev. This is one of the biggest blue zones. It's it's a big blue zone in Costa Rica, but you got to think of it this way: 95% of the medications for the entire world come out of the rainforest in Uvita. Right, 100,000 years ago, this used to be a volcano that erupted. So the most magnetic pole in the world. That's why the whales, the three different types of dolphins, the endangered turtles, they all migrate to Uvita. The whale's tail, the whales come here and they know to come 10,500 kilometers from each direction. They come and they raise their babies in the water here because the magnetic pole is so strong that they're going to protect it. They're not going to spoil where the medications, where the reptiles are, where the marina life is. They're going to keep all that at bay because they need to preserve something when they're causing all the chaos around the world. They need to have somewhere pure and clean. That's what this area is. That's why it's a safe haven.
I gotcha. I'm being asked a question here, and I will address it. Is it a homophobic place or accepting of all? First off, you spelled accepting wrong. That you accepting, ACCEPT, but that's okay. I'm going to answer that. There's no pride flags here. The radical left doesn't have any particular type of grip here whatsoever. However, Mark and I, we went to a beach twice. The big one in the town of Capos.
Manuel Antonio.
Manuel Antonio, that's right. We saw excessively flamboyant gay dudes. You know, they walk like women would walk on the runway wearing the best dress going. You know, where they've got the hips thrust forward and they've got that strut. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares. That's the thing here, is that if you're gay, no one cares. Now, factor this in as well. Most of the towns on the West Coast that I've noticed here, they're smaller towns. So there would be like an underground gay culture here. But San Jose is full of gay bars. So if you guys love the lifestyle, go to the capital city. San Jose, the footprint of that town is bigger than Toronto. There's a lot to do. It's a huge city. So go there. Nobody cares. Like see, that's the thing. And I don't want to make this political, but I do want to state that so many people out there think that other people care about their orientation, and we just don't. People don't care.
No.
So there's no gay bashing, and there's no anti-gay rhetoric here. But the LGBTQs are not running around flaunting their nonsense in everyone's face either. Everybody here leaves each other alone.
Exactly.
Best part about Costa Rica. All right. L'Oreal is asking, what about bringing gold and silver to Costa Rica, like their own personal gold bars and whatnot?
No, don't. It's going to have a hard time making it through customs. And if you come with 5, you're going to end up with, if you're lucky, half of 1. Nah, they're just going to tax the crap out of it. It's not even worth it. Guys, do you know that they just, with gold, they just did it where they appraised silver to be the same value as what gold is? Right, so the stock markets and all that can manipulate what your physical gold and your silver is. The best thing to do is basically own land in Costa Rica, own an asset, own a home, something that's tangible, something you can touch, something that can make you money. Something that somebody says, hey, there's a lot of people that move here that can't afford to buy. You want to rent? All right, this is my price. You can rent this. But with gold and silver, you're not going to be able to do much with it. You're not going to do much with it in a country like this. So get rid of your gold and silver and reinvest it into actual real estate. Remember one thing, you can't go wrong if you reinvest into real estate, land and homes. Your money's going to be safe. It's going to be secure.
Well, I agree with that statement as well. And to travel with gold it's a difficult thing to do. I know that one of the loopholes people like to talk about all the time is you buy the American Eagles, which, or even the Canadian $50 coin. It's a 1 ounce gold coin. Gold, right? I'm just looking at the value. So in Canadian dollars, gold right now is $2,736 per ounce. So if you've got a gold coin that's worth $2,700, but the face value is only 50, apparently you can walk over the American border, clear customs with 199 of these coins in your pocket, and they'll only judge the $50 value. So you're saying that the value of the coin is only 9,950. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the border guards will use their discretion to take it from you. I just don't know.
I think they will, because they're going to see that it's pure gold.
Right.
Right. And they're going to look at that, and they're going to assess it and go on to the, like you just did, like a Google search, and see what the actual value of it is. And they'll repossess it. 100% they will.
And that's incredibly unfortunate. So you'd have to maybe bring 3 of them over at a time. 3, and that's expensive. Think about the amount of fuel you're going to spend on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect.
Another thing you can do with your gold, Kev, another thing you can do with your gold is you can actually sell it, put it into like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, then come over here with that. And then you can actually use Bitcoin to buy homes. You can use Bitcoin to buy cars.
That's true.
It's
true. The farmers markets take Bitcoin, and you can buy a whole house, a $2 million house on Bitcoin. So yeah, definitely do that. So Debbie, I'm just wondering, did I answer your question properly? I hope I got that correct for you there. Okay, yeah, and you are correct. If you have crypto and you don't want to use a wallet like crypto.com or Binance because you are giving up custody of the coins, have your cold wallet, put it in your pocket. Put it in your pocket. They don't care. It's going to be right beside your phone in your phone in your pocket, crypto wallet, hard or cold wallet in your pocket, and you're good. You're fine.
Now, another thing for people to remember too, and I can't stress this enough. If you're coming down to the country and you're an investor, and let's say you have 50,000, 250,000, and in some parts of Canada, I know that somebody will say, okay, if I put 250 down, that person's going to put $1 million in. It doesn't work that way here in Costa Rica. Whatever it is you do, if you're going to invest or you're going to invest with somebody else, if they come in with 500, you have to match them at 500. So it's 50-50. When you're buying a property in Costa Rica, you have to put 50% down. Then I do have private lenders that will mortgage for you the additional 50% at a higher interest rate. Still lower than what most people in Costa Rica charge. One of my guys will do 10, 11%. A lot of places here in Costa Rica do 15 to 30% interest. Right? So it's just to keep that in mind.
Okay. The same gal that's asking about how our LGBTQ folks treated is also now wanting to know what is the real estate market like here?
It's booming. So everywhere else is like going, a little bit dormant and stagnant. Here, actually, everything is booming, depending on the area you're in. Now, Costa Rica has a lot of diversity when it comes to areas. We are in like the Muskoka, Huntsville, Ontario, or picture whatever part of Canada or the U.S. you're in, where everybody goes to party on their boats and have fun. That's what Uvita Dominicana is. It's one of the most up-and-coming areas. It is what, if you look, Nasara, a shack in Nasara goes for $1 million US, and you tear it down and build it.
Wow.
We are in Nasara 10 years ago. So we are going to get to that magnitude. We do have a brand new airport an hour south of us in Palma Norte. We do have a brand new golf course going in. We do have a new marina going in. We do have a university going in, elementary schools, high schools. We have Four Seasons. We have Secrets coming here. We have a lot coming to this area, which is really going to boost the economy, because there's also a ton of people that are moving to Costa Rica every year. Over 4 million people last year alone moved to Costa Rica.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And, I'm 900 feet above sea level, as you know, on the side of a mountain here. And when I got here, this mountain had 7 houses and like 2 empty lots. But now they've doubled the width of the mountain road. They've made it an incredible mountain road. And they're clearing. Yeah, there's clearings now for what looks to be 25 new houses. So, and that's just the beginning. Like it is a big mountain. Mountains here are pretty big, so they've got lots of room to be building houses on them. Debbie, the interest is high, but that's through a private lender. Mark, what is the lowest interest rates you can get here?
Well, the banks do offer interest rates, but it's hard to get a loan through a bank if you're not a resident. So the lowest amount you can get, depending on what it is you're borrowing, will be 9%. But so I've had a lot of people buy houses, some in my subdivision, and when they went to the bank in Canada, in like just close to Orangeville, where I was from, by the time they got the interest rate and all the hidden fees and everything, it actually worked out to be more than 10%. So my one close friend's kicking himself in the head saying, crap, what they're charging me is actually 13.5%. And I believe it was either TD or RBC. They went through their bank there, and they put the money they borrowed against one of their properties north of Orangeville. And he's like, damn it. And then they're locked in for 3 years. We're here, the lenders are open finance. So let's say you're 3 months into it, 6 months into it, you want to break it. It's 1 month's worth of mortgage payment will actually break your loan for you. And then you're scot-free. You don't have to worry about paying, if you have 3 years, you're going to pay a whole year up front as a penalization to discharge the mortgage. Here it's open, so you don't have to worry about that.
Well, I like that plan as well. I got a couple more questions coming in here in the TikTok room. We've got, what's a house going for here? Well, if you guys want to see a whole bunch of houses that and get an idea of what the prices are for what you get, just head over to my website, which is here in my bio on TikTok and in the bottom right corner on Rumble and everywhere else. If you mouse over real estate, which is the second button on the website, you'll see, boom, Costa Rica real estate. Click on that. There's the archives of all of our real estate shows. And there's also all of Mark's listings and my listings there. You can have a look at what the prices actually are. Some of them are phenomenal deals. Some of them are not phenomenal deals. I mean, it's up to you to decide, though, what's right for you and your family when you're moving here.
And it also depends on your areas too, right? There's areas that you can go to that aren't safe at all. You'll become a target, right? We are in Central Latin America, and there's areas like where we are, where the demographics of expats are more well-to-do, they're educated, and the locals appreciate us having us here because we're supplying them with their work, we're supplying them with their income. So houses start in Caples. We do have homes that will start at like $275,000 US, but they are cookie cutter homes and little lots, and they go up from there. Right. So it's not bad.
Yeah. And again, if you do want something that's a little bit fancier, then you don't want to be looking at cookie cutter homes. I mean, the idea is to get away from what you knew in North America. In my hometown of Mississauga, every neighborhood has the same house. The street that I grew up on in Mississauga, every single house on the north side of the road was exactly the same, just different color brick. That's all that it was. And I mean, exactly the same. The houses on the other side of the street were exactly the same as them, as the first one. So, and also, when I bought my first house in my late 20s, the house that I bought it existed, Mark, every fifth house in my neighborhood. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's funny how they would take it and just mirror it.
Yeah, reverse it.
Flip the blueprint. But it was the exact same house. I'm not really a fan of that particular type of neighborhood. I find it dry and drab. But I mean, this is entirely up to you. All of you have your own tastes. So just let us know what your tastes are, what your lifestyle is. I mean, I'm certainly not going to recommend, if you're a party animal and you like to hit the nightclubs every night, I would not recommend Uvita. I just wouldn't.
Exactly.
I'd recommend Jaco, or I'd recommend San Jose. Go party it up, dance all night. But if you want quiet, stay away from Jaco. Come here to Uvita. If you're looking for wealthy expats to hang around, come here to Uvita. Every town's got its charm, right? That's what you have to factor in. Debbie, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate that. Rentals. Okay, first off, Mark, I'm going to let you address this one. Working in Costa Rica, because I know this comes up all the time. Go ahead.
Okay, guys. That's a gray area. It depends on what it is you're looking to do. If you come to look down to be a builder, not a problem. You don't have to be a resident of Costa Rica. You can open up a company and a corporation. You can hire the locals. You can teach them. You can start building in Costa Rica. If you're coming down to do property management, other businesses, You do have to become a resident of Costa Rica because you do need what's called a digital signature, and you do have to register with like the SUHEF, right? It's a municipality, it's a government, it's a part of the government body that regulates and monitors and watch who's working in the country. But if you're coming down to open up like a barber shop, a hairdressing shop, a clothing store, any of that stuff, no problem. As long as you hire one of the locals, and the great area is you're teaching them. So you're not physically making money, you're living off the dividends of the business. You're teaching them, you can do it. Now, if you're gonna run something private out of your house, not a problem. If you're gonna do something mobile, not a problem. You'll be fine. So yeah, you can work. There's just ways around it. You have to know all the ways. And again, Kev, we have all the ways around it.
Well, that's what we do. We work within the confines of the law, but it's about relationships, and that's what Mark and I have been doing here. Mark for 3 years and me for 3 months now is establishing relationships, but learning every single rule that we can and learning the culture.
Exactly.
There's 2 things about Costa Rican culture that you should factor in. Number 1, dogs are revered here. If you kick a dog or throw something at a dog or mistreat a dog or don't water a dog, believe me, the locals are going to flip. They love dogs here. And I know this because I've a friend of mine's hanging out with me right now. He's got an Airedale Terrier, and that's not a common breed here. So people come over, oh, so cute. Like everybody wants to play with dogs here. And number 2 is if you make a deal, you keep the deal. People here take it personally if you break a deal with them. So don't get yourself in the position where you think you're going to con people. They will react very negatively. Take that as you will. All right. I'm just going to look at a couple of things here. Yeah. So as for rentals, Mark, how's the rental market here for Uvita and the Capos area? Go ahead.
Okay, so depending on where you are, if you're in Capos, it's more of the local towns. You can find stuff $65, $75, $85 a night. If you start getting up to Manuel Antonio, you're going to start hitting $180, $225 US per night and up. If you come to Uvita Dominical, we have the Envision Festival that starts March 4th. A tent on the beach for 7 days will cost you $700, $100 a day for a 2-person tent.
$100 a night for a spot on the beach?
Yep, there'll be over 40 to 60,000 people here. They're already starting to come now. Regular high season, decent places to rent, you're about $200 to $300 to $350 US a night to rent in Uvita Dominical. You want to be in safe areas and all that, you're going to tend to spend a little bit more money depending on where it is that you want to be situated. And I always tell people, the nicer the place, the more you're going to spend, right? And this is also the playground for the rich Costa Ricans. A lot of the Costa Ricans, and people find this, they're like, wow, starstruck when they hear this. A lot of them will travel to Miami for a weekend, and they have no problem dropping like $250,000 having fun through just a few groups, right? So a lot of them in Costa Rica do have a lot of money. There is a lot of wealth in San Jose. So this has become, since COVID, this has become their playground. This is where they come up and have fun. So Kev, you're going to get to see it for the first time with Envision, and then Holy Week right after. Watch the SUVs, the Mercedes, the Porsche SUVs, the Maseratis. They're going to be Hummers driving around everywhere. And then tons of people that are going to be here partying, having fun. It is a blast. It is an absolute blast.
I'm looking forward to that. But one thing I did want to say is if you are okay living in the capital city of San Jose, I actually was pricing apartments out versus living in a hotel. And I found that in some cases it's cheaper to live in a 3 or a 4-star hotel than it is to rent an apartment. And the food, if you get a 3 or 4-star hotel or higher, the food is phenomenal. You wake up and they serve breakfast from 5 in the morning till 10 in the morning. But it's not like Canada. It's not those continental breakfasts where it's muffins and chocolate chip cookies and cereal with fake powdered milk. No. Mark, we had pulled pork.
I know.
Poached eggs, fruit, all of it. We had mangoes. We had watermelon, cantaloupe. yogurts that were actually made
Yep.
just 2 buildings away. What else do we have there? We had bacon, French toast,
Yep.
pancakes,
Waffles,
like their
omelets,
version of pancakes,
smoothies.
smoothies, potato cakes. The food was just fantastic. And if you hang around till almost 10 o'clock when they start taking breakfast down, they just say, here, take the food to your room. They'll pile it on the plates for you.
Yeah.
So you can eat all day
Yeah.
at no additional cost if you're actually living at a hotels in the San Jose area, which I thought was absolutely fantastic because the food was extremely high end. Very happy with that. 28 Days is asking, other than the climate, what does Costa Rica have that's better than Canada? Freedom of speech. All right. I'll start with that one right off the hop, everybody. I have a big mouth. In fact, I've got the biggest mouth Canada's ever known. I don't shut up, but I know what I'm talking about, especially when I'm doing social commentary. The Canadian government has shut me down and locked me up and stolen my house and my car and my money because I would not stop reporting the news. In Costa Rica, I am still reporting the news, but the Costa Rican government doesn't care that I'm talking about Canada, United States, the European Union. And also, this is the other thing. Censorship in Canada is the highest in the Western world. You are unable to get about 90% of Canadian-based news now inside of Canada. But they haven't been blocking Costa Rican IP addresses. So since I got here to Costa Rica, where I only had 200,000 people a month looking at my Instagram channel, now it's 5 million a month.
Insane.
That's just, and gentlemen, ladies, I can say what I want, which really is not that egregious. I don't even swear in my videos. I'm just saying what is really on my mind, and people like it. That is what's better than
and there's
Canada.
no one knocking on your door.
That's correct. Nobody's knocking on your door.
Now, what else does Costa Rica have? Let's see. An abundance of sun, no chemtrails.
Yes.
The ocean, tons of natural waterfalls. So you have an abundance of water. You can go pick fruits anywhere you want. Even if you find vegetables, pick them. The beef and the chicken and the pork here is so damn cheap. There's an abundance of it. Like if you really wanted to get cheap with beef, go to one of the farmers and say, you know what, I want a cow, I want a pig, chop it up. You're going to be $100, $200. They'll chop it all up for you. They'll cut it however you want it and give it to you. Right. So there's a lot that's offered here in Costa Rica that Canada doesn't have.
Well, I think the other big thing as well that I want to say is that the rat race does not exist.
Exactly.
Look, you guys, I think everyone knows I was born in Toronto, raised in Mississauga, right next door. And to drive from the west side of Toronto to the east side of Toronto on highway number 401, in some cases is 2.5 hours. And that only signifies like 25 kilometers. It is insane how much time you spend driving on the roads. And Montreal is worse. Ottawa, the capital city, has got a whole ton of weird road patterns out there, and it's difficult to navigate. Vancouver's impossible to drive in. And our cities are just so far apart that we can't really do commerce with each other in Canada. Whereas here in Costa Rica, if you feel like doing commerce anywhere else in the country, you just get in your car and you go, and you'll get there fast. I wish the highways were a little bit better, but it is what it is. I didn't come here to be on a 9-lane highway. I came here to be in the jungle, driving on jungle roads, jungle highways, dirt roads up and down the mountains. So it's a different lifestyle, everybody. This is something that you will have to adjust to. But if you come here wanting a new life, that's what you're going to have here in Costa Rica. All right.
You came here for longevity, for a better life. That's exactly what it is, man.
Okay. 28 Days is asking a lot of mathematical questions now.
Okay.
Buddy, if you wanted to, go to my website, use my contact form. That might be a little bit easier. So that way I can dictate much longer answers to you and give you a hand, because what you're asking is going to take you a little while to cover, and the show is done in about 7 minutes. Yeah, but please go ahead. And Flash Gordon's making a claim that his mouth is bigger than mine. I'm going to say that I have to disagree with that. There we go. And Debbie says that her TikTok froze a couple of times. Debbie, if you have any specific questions about Costa Rica, by all means, just go to my website, Kevin J Johnston, my name, KevinJJohnston.me, and use the contact form. That is the fastest way for anybody out there to reach me. It comes to my phone. It goes to Mark's phone. Either one of us are going to grab the message, and we're going to contact you right away. Okay. So 28 days makes a point. He says censorship does not affect his wallet, but 9% interest does. Okay, I get that. But what happens when the bank rate in Canada goes to 7.9, which they are talking about now? For those who know my hometown, Mark, of Mississauga,
Yeah.
in Erin Mills, that's on the west side, there's not a single house available for sale right now for less than 1.4 million. Now, these are houses that were built like crap in the 80s with wood
Yeah.
and Tyvek and just Home Depot shingles, just horrible stuff. Uh, they're selling for 1.4 million to 3.4 million, and only 12 houses have sold in that entire area in the last 6 months. So what we have here is a very big problem, folks, in that houses are not selling in Canada anymore. So you're going to be trapped. But Mark, I've got an ultimate solution here for everybody. And that is if you have a house that right now is valued at, let's say, $3 million, it won't be a year from now because the housing bubble will burst in Canada. What you could do is take out a home equity loan for 75% of the value of the house and buy property here, move here, rent your house out in Canada and keep paying off the house. And if the market does crash and the property value drops below the amount that you
Hand in
took
the
out,
keys.
just abandon, just walk away from it. There you go.
Well, think about it this way, Kev.
Yeah.
April 1st, 23% carbon tax going in Canada. We don't have carbon tax here.
There's no carbon tax. That's
So
right.
when you look at all the hikes in Canada, how much groceries are, what you're going to spend on groceries at home compared to what you're going to spend here. We have sun 24/7. The amount of chemtrails in Canada they're spraying, you guys don't have any sun. You're breathing in all that mercury and all those radioactive chemicals. They're spraying in the sky, but guess what? They're settling down into the earth. They're setting into your soils, into your water systems. They're making people sick.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody looks at interest rates and says, well, 7% compared to 10%, okay, what quality of life are you getting? Where would you rather be? And that's for the ones that want to finance. Now, a lot of the houses here, if you finance something, 6 months down the road, it's worth 150. Some of them are worth 300,000-400,000 profit. You can decide to say, okay, done. Screw it. Let's break the mortgage. Let's sell it. Let's take the money. Let's reinvest it. Let's buy something, put a little bit of money in the bank. Now, guess what? You're mortgage free. How you can do that in Canada? You can't.
No, you don't do that in Canada at all. Mark, we're down to a couple of minutes here, so I'm just going to fire through some of the questions that are coming in. Mr. Canada 66 is asking, roofing businesses, are they profitable here? Do they work well in Costa Rica?
They do. They're all metal roofs. There's no shingle roofs here. So if you know how to work with metal, you can make a fortune off them. Even repairing them, you can still make money off them too.
I did notice that leaks tend to be a bit of a problem with some of the roofs that are done incorrectly. So if you know how to weld and you know how to use gaskets on a metal roof, yes, you'll do very well here. There's a lot of expats who are willing to pay American prices to get that done.
Everything's in U.S. prices.
Hold on there. Harry's asking, is it true that if a foreigner buys a house for $300K, they can get citizenship right away?
No.
Mark?
No. So what it is you'll become a temporary resident for 3 years. After 3 years, you can then become a permanent resident. After you're a permanent resident for an additional 2 years, so 5 years in total, then you can apply for your citizenship and become a citizen of Costa Rica. But why do you want to be a citizen of Costa Rica anyways? You can only be a resident in one place in the world. You can't be a resident in multiple places. You have to pay taxes somewhere. So you got to pick and choose where you're going to pay your taxes. Citizens, man, there's no advantage of being a citizen of Costa Rica than a citizen of Canada, a citizen of the U.S. I will always be a Canadian citizen, but I'm a Costa Rica resident, right? So all my taxes, everything I do, my governing body is Costa Rica. Canada can't even touch me because I'm now Costa Rican, right? But I still have the privileges if I want to go back to Canada, do whatever I want. People say, well, you can't use your old hip. BS. I can walk into a hospital and I can still use my hip, no problem.
Oh, yeah, that's a common misconception, everybody, about the health cards in Canada. People say if you leave the country for more than 6 months, the card is invalid. Walk into any hospital in Canada, they will serve you on the spot, whether you have an insurance card or a health card or not. That is a complete fabrication.
Yep.
Don't listen to people like that. Most people say things like that because they want their 15 minutes of fame. By the way, on TikTok, can we get everyone to just tap the screen here? Let's get the likes up. We're at 519 likes. Let's really get the likes up there. I think we're at 10 likes on Rumble. Can we get that going as well, folks? Do appreciate that. Mark, I'm going to grab the last couple of questions here.
Sure.
Hold on. No? John's asking, what's a good amount of cash to have in total when you want to go to Costa Rica? He's asking 2 examples, 500K, $1 million. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, the more is always going to be better. If you're talking US, $1 million, you're going to be more equipped that if you want to buy a property and then also buy something that has a revenue generating property on it, an income property with it, you can do that. 500,000, man, as long as you're coming to work and you buy something small, because remember, you still have to buy a car, you still have to do your residency. A decent car in this country is going to cost you 30,000 US. So you still have to have money set aside to purchase things like that, right? So the more, always, the rule of thumb is the more you have, the better off you're going to be. The less you have, the harder of a chance it's going to make it here in Costa Rica, because you're starting brand new. You don't have any history in Costa Rica. You need to build up and generate that history.
Gotcha. I think so. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, I'm just having a quick thing here. Yes. So Annika Haley's just saying she likes the idea of popping 75% equity out of your Canadian property prior to the bubble bursting. It does work. Mr. Canada is asking, is there spray foam here? Yes. Yes, there is. I have seen it used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flash Gordon, I've got a couple of real estate guys to answer your question about the housing bubble in Canada bursting. I'll get you a more accurate answer than what I can give you. Right now, I'm speculating 12 to 18 months. But there are others out there who disagree with me on that, and I'd rather get the pros to come in and explain that. All right. Kevin, you abandon the house there coming to Costa Rica, and you get what you owe in the abandoned home. Okay. Could you possibly, Randy, rephrase that? I'm not quite sure I followed that. All right. And I'm just doing a couple quick things here. All right. Yeah, price of a car. I've seen some used cars down here for 8,000-9,000 US. Those are usually pretty beat up. The description that was given to me was Costa Rica eats cars, right? Because there are a lot of mountain roads, there's a lot of dirt roads, and if you live in San Jose, the capital city, you're fine. You could have whatever you want. You could have a Porsche if you wanted to. You'd be fine.
Yeah.
You're nowhere near the ocean in San Jose, and the roads are all paved. I didn't see a single dirt road anywhere. But I did see a lot of Lamborghinis when I was there. There must have been some big party taking place, because I saw a lot of some muscle cars too. A lot of stuff out of the 70s downtown. Flash is asking about living on a boat. Is that something you can do here? No.
Unless you're in the marina, but no, it's hard. Like, some of our friends do live on boats, but they're not even boats. They're like 200-300 foot yachts. But even then, they don't, because they don't want you living on the dock, the ports, right? So, no, they won't allow it. You have to live in a house here or a condo.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Mark, I think that's going to do it. Do you have any concluding statements now?
Kev, man, like I keep saying, man, with everything happening in Canada right now, guys, you saw what Calgary, Alberta, and all that's passing. Don't sit and wait. Hope is for the hopeless, right? If you want to make things happen, you want to take a chance. And remember, you do have us two here on this side here that will guide you and help you, right? Make the right choice, make the right decision. The only decision you have to worry about is the one that you want to make for yourself. So, guys, we're here to help you out. Just reach out. You have nothing to lose. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you reach out to me and you say to me, I have $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, I'm not the type to say to you, hey, great, come to this country. I'm going to help you. I'm going to be realistic and tell you, don't make this move. Don't even phantom the idea of making the move, because you'll be like 6 months and you'll be back out and you'll be back in Canada. You'll be worse off. So we're going to be realistic with you. We're going to be upfront and honest with you. We have nothing to lose from it. We only want to help you and help you gain from this. So, guys, reach out to Kevin. Kevin will put you in touch with me. And let's make your dreams a reality here in Costa Rica. I look forward to it.
All right. And for everybody who's watching on TikTok, I'm going to hang around for another hour on TikTok now to answer any more of your questions. Mark, thanks for being here, brother. We'll see you next week.
Awesome, brother. You too, man. Cheers, Kev.
All right. Take care. We'll see you. Again, everyone, that's Mark Savoya. He's my partner down here. We help people relocate to Costa Rica, specifically the West Coast, where most of the millionaires have decided to buy their own homes. It's a lot of fun here. There's a lot of good people here. As Mark said, there's a lot of good parties here. So thank you very much for showing up for tonight's show. This is the Real Estate Show with Kevin J Johnston, which is every single Wednesday live at 9 p.m. on freedomreport.ca. And do not forget, my political show, the Kevin J Johnston Show, is every Tuesday and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time